Okay, good day. So given with power interruptions dira sa inyo ha, we're just going to record na lang this video in order also for us to continue with our class. Now, for last meeting, we already discussed on if statement, and we have two quizzes that we have that I administered the duration of our classes. Now, so as we discussed last meeting, so an if statement or an if block is part of the conditional control structures wherein kapag include ta o conditional control structures such as if, there will be parts of our code nga atong gina-control in order for either atong ipa-execute siya as part of our functionality or not. This is useful especially in advanced na mga programming given that some of the codes might be considered in terms na dili sa i-execute for specific na purpose or specific na function. And one of the statement that we're going to discuss here as part sa atong Java nga fundamentals is the if statement. Okay, so just to give siguro a quick review on what we call as the statement of Java in terms of conditional control structure, specifically with if. This is how we declare or the syntax of the if. So the keyword if, then the open and close na parentheses with or without space ana, wala problema with or without space ana, followed by a curly open curly brace and partner niya will be a close curly brace. Based sa atong examination last meeting, one of the common mistakes nga nabuhat or mga nabantayan nato is a semicolon after the close parenthesis if nga statement. Again, it's not a semicolon, but it's an open curly brace paired with the close curly braces. Okay? So this is the main structure for if. So na ay keyword na if, open and close parenthesis, then our open and close na curly braces. Technically, ang tawag na to ani in Java is block. Okay? So, a statement or statements in Java, kung one line lang, usually we call it a statement. Pero kapag naa siya open and close curly braces, meaning it's a block or a block of statement in Java. Okay? Going back. So, this is if. Now, ang ato ibutan dire, sulod sa open and close parentheses, is basically what we call as our condition. Okay? So, depende sa atong program na dayon, we can put condition in which para pwede nato ipa-execute ang statement nga naa sulod dire sa ato ang block, sulod sa open and close parentheses or not. So meaning, the condition tells the program or Java compiler either to execute the line or the lines of code here or not. Okay? Because we can create more than one statements here sulod sa ato ang open and close curly brace ni if, or should we say the block ni if. Okay. Again, statements 1 and statement 2 will only be executed only if our condition here is true. Okay. So meaning, if this is true, execute say statement 1 and statement 2. If this is false, on the other hand, dili execute sa statement 1 and statement 2. Then ang program magpadayon kung unsay na-address sa ubos na dayon. Okay? So that is the nature of our conditional control structures. We set specific conditions, and if this condition is satisfied, na siya i-execute. Kung wala na satisfied, pwede po niya dili execute or lahi ang iyahang ipa-execute. So now, let's proceed with basic na mga samples. Let's try this one. Okay. So, we have here a demo code, which is na siya main method, na siya rather class, na siya main method, then na ay ginatawag na ito nga if block na dayon. Okay? So, according to the code in line 3, if 5 is greater than 1, then i-print niya ang the word na hello. Then, proceed siya with printing the word nga world. Let's try this in code. Let me just open the online compiler that we are using. Okay, so let's work with this one. Okay, so this is our main, this is our class, public class. We're just going to have main. Then we have the main method. Oh, sorry. We have the main method. Okay. So now, according to our code kanina, if we go back to the code, we have automatic and statement nga conditional dial. So, nasa statement na if accordingly 5 is greater than 1, again, that's the block dial. Now, especially sa mga first time mo gamit og if na condition, you double check na kung pila ka buok, and always this is the syntax nga consideration nato kan Java. Pila ka buok na open na curly brace, that's the exact number also of the number of the closed curly braces. Meaning nagid na sa part ng tanan. So if you observe, si main niya sa pinakaubos, meaning kana sa tanan sulod kang main method, then si class. I keep on calling this one as main method because of the word main. So let's just going to have this change na lang siguro into let's say sample problem. Sample problem in if. Sample problem na lang. Okay, medyo mahaba-haba na. Okay. Then we change that one also ang name sa ato ang class. Okay? So our class na sample problem and sa taman 7 meaning tanan na enclosed sulod sa ato ang class followed by sulod niya nga na si main method, then si main method na ay sulod na condition ni if. So going through. So let's have it a system just like the program kanina that we have or na napakita. So na siya word na siya print niya ang hello. Here, print ang word na hello inside the block of code. Okay? Then, our line 6 meaning nag-end ang ato ang conditional statement nga if sa line 5, then naa siya sa line 6. That's another tawag ani code which is system.out.print which is world. Now, how are we going to understand this in a programming level or as a programmer? Easy. We have condition, we have if. Again, as we mentioned, as I discussed kanina, if the condition here is true, execute. If the condition here is false, kaning tibuok block dili na execute. That is how if works. Okay? So, for this example, our condition here is 5 greater than 1. So we're going to evaluate, is 5 greater than 1? So kung sa Binisaya pa, mas dako ba daw ang 5 compare sa 1? So if the answer is yes, so if the answer is true, execute niya si hello. If the answer is false, then dili niya i-print ng hello. Okay? So the answer for this one is, of course, 5 is greater than 1. So the result of our condition dire is true, meaning i-print niya ang word na hello. Then, I then siya mo print sa world dial after pag ma-execute na dial. Okay? Let's try. So, we're going to run the program. Just going to wait lang. Yun. Ang result there is hello world. Okay? Unfortunately, wala ay space or wala ay line kay print lang. So, if you put ln here sa first, yung system print, we'll try to run it again. Dapat the word nga world that will be printed line after, just like this one. Okay? So here, again, na-print ang word na hello given that our condition here is true. Okay, now let's change this one. Let's try to make it false lang for the sake of testing. So now we change the operator from greater than now to less than. So now we have is 5 less than to 1. So this is now our condition. So mas gamay ba daw ang value of 5 compared to 1? So the answer now is false. So once we try to run the program, again, now makita nato dire nga wala na na-print ang word na hello. The only being outputted sa atong program is the word nga world. Okay? Why? Again, as I discussed kanina pa, if the condition here is false, then dili niya i-execute ang naasulod sa iyahang block. And again, that is the behavior and that is how the condition of if works. If the condition is true, i-execute niya ang if block. Kung the condition is false, dili niya i-execute ang if block. So we call this one now as our the if na block. Okay? So let's proceed with other samples. Okay. Now, for the second, so we have here now, okay, similar, gi-change lang ang value, but the result now is ang ma-print na lang ano is world because 5 is not greater than to 6. So the statement here is false. So meaning, dili niya i-execute ng if block. Okay? So skip niya ang if block, padayon lang sa print sa ubos. So whatever ang imong i-control, dapat naalang sulod sa imuhang open and curly brace sa imuhang if na block. Okay? Okay. So we have here sample ng mga coding. So this is exactly what we wanted you to do. Kapag if you have already working with the activities, you try to understand this, you try to follow this, we even put codes para pwede ninyo i-work on. So the problem here is write a Java program to identify if the value inputted by the user is an even number. Now, an even number is, dali naman na siya i-compute nato, di ba? O sige, kung sa elementary pa, the even numbers are 2, 4, 6, 8, and so on and so forth. Okay, katong dili bungkig, in short, kung sabihin saya pa. But in terms of computation, in solving this, we need to know if the value first is an even number or not. So, kung sa mathematical computation, kung saan nato pag-convert, kay dili ang pudingon nga buhaton nato nga if number is 2, if number is 4, if number is 6, that is an infinite number nga atong kailangan i-process. Okay? So, to make it mas dali sa atong code, computing or identifying or evaluating if the number is even or not, simply ang atong buhaton ana is we are going to divide it by 2. Okay? Ngano we need to divide it by 2? Any odd number, kapag i-divide by 2, may balaan nato kung even siya because wala siya remainder. Okay? Okay, for example, 2 divided by 2, so the answer is 1. And 2 divided by 4, and so on and so forth. As we all know, again, kapag na-divide ang 4 divided by 2, rather, 4 divided by 2, the answer is 2, the remainder is 0. If the number is divided by 2, then naa siya decimal place or naa siya remainder, meaning it's no longer an even number. Okay? Thus, dali lang may balaan nato or dali nato siya i-understand niya kapag ang remainder sa any value divided by 2 is equal to 0, meaning the value is even. So in simple terms, atong i-discuss before, we have this special nga operator which is what we call as modulus. Now, the modulus operator, which is represented by a percent nga symbol, ang iyang i-return ana is ang percentage rather. It's not the percentage, but it's the remainder sa imuhang duha ka number after division. Okay? So, in shorter terms or in layman term, pag i-divide nimo ang isa ka value by 2, then kung ang remainder niya or ang result sa modulus niya is 0, that means that the value is even. Kapag ang number i-divide nimo by 2, tapos ang iyahang modulus or ang iyahang remainder is dili 0, meaning the value or the number is odd number. Okay? So, ingana ang interpretation dayon pag-abot pag code na to. So, let's try it in codes. Okay? Even.java. Okay? So, we are going to declare muna public class even. Tapos, we're going to have the main. Now, we proceed muna with testing sa muna. Okay? Again, the problem here nga i-identify is dapat i-user input man. But let's try muna sa katong structure niya, which is i-test nato kung makadetect ba siya o dili. So let's say int number is equal to, let's start with 4. Okay. So now, we're going to identify muna kung ang iyang result ba is even number ba or dili. Okay? So, you can create a tawag a variable for this one, or pwede na po dili na ka mag-give mo variable for this one. For example, say remainder is equal to 0. Tapos, we're going to have here remainder is equal to number modulus 2. Okay. By the way, for this one, katong na-discuss na to nga shorthand writing. Okay? So, pwede nga duha ka lines to declare two integer variables. Pwede po nga isahon na to ni siya, pero dapat ma-separate ni siya sa comma. So, nga na. Int number is equal to 4, comma, remainder is equal to 0. So, this means that both the variable number and remainder, pareho sila nga integer ang data type. Okay? So, going forward, so we have the remainder is equal to number modulus by 2. Okay. So, if the modulus by 2, we can try to check unsa result niya. Okay? Para ma-check na to kung 0 ba yun siya kung dili siya kuan. So, print, let's say we are going to print the remainder. Okay? So, we're just testing muna. So, declare tag duha ka variables. Then after we declare two variables, we get the modulus of 2 of the number ng variable. Then we assign it to remainder. Tapos, i-print na to ang value sa remainder. Okay? Let's try to run the program. Okay, now the result now is 0. Okay? Nganong 0 again, ang result sa ato ang remainder sa modulus operator is the remainder. So 4 divided by 2, ang remainder is 0. Now let's try if that is not an even number or an odd number. Okay? So let's try to run it. We change the code. The value of our number, the variable, is now equal to 5. And the result now is not 0 or 1 na ang iyahang remainder. So, bahala o bisag unsa nga number imo ibutang dire, for as long as even, the non-even numbers modulus by 2, the result is equal to 0. So, muna itong always demand in identifying an even number. So, bahala og moabot ka og taas kaayo nga value, for as long as, again, that is an even number, we are going to get a value which is 0. Okay? So, muna siya atong premise dayon sa pagkuha sa code. And, dali na din kayo mahibalaan na dayon. Meaning, kung ang remainder is equal to 0, even. Kung ang remainder is equal to 1, dili siya even. Then, we can proceed na dayon with our problem. Going back with the problem, ako na copy-paste yung problem para dahil na ito ma-review direct. Just going to comment this one na lang. Okay. Oops. Multiple line man dahil. So, let's going to have this one as multiple line. Okay. So, the problem here is write a program to identify if the value inputted by the user is an even number. Okay. So, kabalo na ta, but we need to structure the code na lang dayon. So, we can print siguro even kung even a number. Okay? So, makuha naman nato nga premise. So, remainder. Okay. So, we are going to proceed dayon with a code or let's say for example, a condition here nga pag ang remainder is equal to 0, mo-print ta og word nga even. So, how are we going to do that? So, natay word natay if na condition. Again, if open and close parentheses, tapos open and close na curly brace. You may start working with this one kapag sa inyong code para at least sure mo nga sakto ang inyong partner sa mga parentheses and curly braces. Then later na dayon ang condition. Okay. So, now, again, pag ang remainder, ang remainder is equal to 0, meaning that's even. So we can assume here that we can just print system.out.print. So let's for example, even. Okay? So now the question there nato ani is, what is our condition? Now, for this problem, dali naman, again, ang kanya nina, every time nga mogamit ta og modulus operator by 2, the result, if we use an even number modulus by 2, the result is always 0. So we can just put here as remainder is double equal to 0. Why we are using double equal? This is how this is the relational operator when we check if the value from the left side is equal to the right side. Now, kung equal lang ni, kung single equal lang ni, what we are trying to do is this is the assignment operator. So meaning, i-assign mo ang values ni 0 to the word or to the variable na remainder. And ang result ani is dili true or false, which give us an error. Okay? So dapat double equal na siya. Meaning, is remainder equal to 0. Okay? So we try to check the code muna. Again, ano yun basta if the condition here is true, i-print ang ato ang if block. If the condition here is false, dili niya i-print ang if na block. So let's try to run the code. The value of the number ulit, let's change the value of the number back to 4. Okay? So the number is equal to 4. We are going to expect that 4 divided by 2 is equal to remainder 0. So the remainder is equal to 0. So 0 is equal to 0, meaning the value will be, or the system that out that print will be printed. Okay? Let's try to run the code. Okay, so the result of our code here is even. Again, yan ang even because it's an even number given that the remainder is equal to 0. Let's try again if the value is equal to 5. Okay, once we run the program, nabay ma-print, I guess wala, based atong code, wala man tayo kuan. So, empty lang, tapos mahibala na ito nga nag-end na ang code or ang program because of this line here. Okay, so now, kaya na nato ma-determine if the value is even or not. So since the problem tells us that the value should be inputted by the user, then we can incorporate na dayon tong user inputs. For example, so how are we going to incorporate user input? So we're going to have the import muna, import java.util scanner. Ang uban sa inyo ha, gina-capital ang I, again, it's a small I if we are using the import nga keyword in Java. Then we are going to instantiate an object. Okay. So for example, object scan is equal to new scanner. Then we have system, which is capital S gihapon, .in. Okay. Semicolon. Then we're just going to let the user know nga mag-enter og number. Okay. So that's just going to have here katong system.out.print. So let's say for example, enter a number. Okay, so enter a number, then we're going to require the user to enter the number. I-assign nato sa variable nga number. Number is equal to object scan, which is our object that next int. We are using next int here as our method since our number na variable is integer. Okay? Kapag double ang atong data type dito, ang atong butang dire is next double. Since integer man, int, we're just using here next int. So, we are telling the user to enter a number. The user will enter a number, which will be assigned sa number na variable. The number variable is computed with its modulus to 2. Then, i-assign ang value ana to remainder. Then, si remainder, i-compare na to if that is equal to 0. Then i-print niya ang even if that is true na dayon. Okay? So this is the whole code dayon sa ato ang problem. Okay? Na missing lang itong duha pero you get the point na. Okay? Let's try to run the code. Okay, so now our code now is running. So it tells the user to enter a number. So you have to enter the number 4. Then the result is even. When you try to program once again, let's try another add number. Okay. Oh, sorry. So you have to enter 9. Obviously, 9 is an odd number rather. So wala siya i-display tayo. So this is how our condition ni if mag-works. As simple as this. This is very powerful and this is very useful kapag maabot ta og advanced na mga programming and advanced na mga utilization sa ato ang processes sa ato ang code. Okay, so I hope that you understand this part sa ato ang discussion because this is very tawag ani part of our code is, or part of our discussion is, dapat at least masabtan natin mga basics, especially yung foundations of the Java nga program. Now, I want you to open your browser. Tapos, I want you to go to this URL, tinyurl.com/ we have MSC-CC102-CH5-1. This is a quiz URL. Sorry. tinyurl.com/nmsc-cc102-ch5-1. You copy or you paste this one, you type this one in your web browser, tapos you answer the prepared na quiz na tayo. Okay? So, if you're going to enter that one, so the quiz will look like this. We just show you. So, just a review of basic condition tayo. You answer the pre-questions or information lang, tapos you answer your code, you put your code on these 4 problems here. You will be given siguro mga pila ka minutes to answer this one. Okay? So don't forget to answer this before 12 o'clock or 12 noon today. Okay?